It's another one of those stories that, well, I guess it could happen. We don't think it is, but it did. As we were recording yesterday, a story was unfolding in Virginia that two innocent Americans, young journalists, 24 and 27 years old, were ambushed, executed, murdered. It was racially motivated. The backdrop of it all, the foundation of it all, was mental illness. And now the gun debate is front and center again in America, to the point where the President of the United States responded to it. I don't know how parents who lose kids deal with something like this. This is so horribly unnecessary. And I don't know if we as a society have a solution. I don't know. I don't know if a solution is achievable at this point. It's just something that we unfortunately have to live with in America, and it involves so many facets of our society: how we bring up our kids, how we make our families think about others, how we influence decisions, how we handle mental illness, how we deal with people who are struggling with issues. And I think the information age has just put us into the fast lane of not being able to catch up with a lot of these issues that are confronting us in society. Everybody in their working career, I believe, comes across an employee who's pissed off or has some issues. And this incident that unfolded in Roanoke, Virginia yesterday that took the life of a 24-year-old girl and a 27-year-old man is going to make us reinforce the thought process that anything can happen at any time and we're never safe anywhere. And I just can't imagine what the families are going through right now, having to deal with this, how senseless it is and how horrible it is. And you can say, well, justice was done, is that the person who committed this act is now gone. That doesn't make it any easier or any better. And I think that there's a lot of people in this country right now that don't know where to turn to get a solution. But it does bring us back to the gun debate. But the painful loss, and every manager in every building in this country today in a workplace is thinking about who's working for them, how they're being managed, looking for signs, and trying to cope with the possibility of that happening in their workplace. And it's, my God, what you wonder what is going on out there. This is the manager of the television station in Roanoke, WDBJ, Jeff Marx, the general manager, responding to the loss of two of his employees.
If I walked into the office in the morning and the first person I saw was either Adam or Allison, I got a smile on my face because they were always that way. And I never saw them down. Adam just would do any job that was asked of him. He was a lovable person, but he was really good at what he did.
How about Allison? 24 years old. What kind of reporter was she?
She was a good reporter, and she was going to be a great reporter. Maybe a national news anchor, I don't know. But she had so much in front of her that was possible because she was quick and smart and worked hard. And that's the kind of person you want.
Every manager and every employee knows what Jeff Marx is saying, because we all know employees just like Allison. We all know employees just like that young photographer who was shot. And Adam Ward, a talented guy, Allison, a talented woman, and for no reason at all, they're just gone. So the gun debate. Terry McAuliffe, the governor of Virginia, was very involved and very quick to respond in the effort to apprehend the shooter yesterday. And he ended up on WTOP radio in Washington, D.C., talking about firearms.
Yeah, I've proposed this now twice to the General Assembly. I mean, I ran on the topic. Was part of my platform that we need tougher gun laws in the Commonwealth. I've advocated for background checks. Everyone who purchases a firearm in the Commonwealth of Virginia should have to go through a background check. A background check, as I say, I've done it 3 times. I own 3 hunting rifles and shotguns. I hunt. You go into the store, you hand your license over. It doesn't take, Mark, but 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes maximum. Everybody should go through that process. There are people who have been convicted of a dangerous crime, a violent crime, domestic abusers, stalkers. I mean, we can go through a whole list. There are certain people who should not be entitled to own a firearm. So I will continue to push it.
That's where 90% of America is post-Sandy Hook execution of little school children. We're still there. We're still having this debate. We can't get background checks. And the reason is the foundation of support is so strong from the National Rifle Association. It infiltrates our political structure on a national level, and you have people like Donald Trump taking this position.
You do something different with gun policy?
Well, I don't think I would, because this is really a sick person. This isn't a gun problem. This is a mental problem. And frankly, a case like this, he snuck up on him, whether it was a gun or a knife or whatever it would have been something. But, you're not going to get rid of all guns. So I know one thing, if you tried to do it, the bad guys would have them, to use an expression, and the good folks would abide by the law. They'd be hopeless, and it would be a hopeless situation for them.
That is NRA, National Rifle Association rhetoric. That if we were to institute some type of background checks or some type of registration, that only the bad guys would have the firearms. We don't know that for sure. And we don't know for sure that background checks would curb violence in this country. What we believe is that it will. Why don't we just give it a try? Why don't we've changed speed limits in this country. Some states still have 55 miles an hour. Some states have 75 miles an hour. Why don't we just try it? And if it saves lives after a 24-month survey of what's going on in America with gun violence, then maybe we should stay with it. If you have a bad law, get rid of it. But I think that we are clearly at a point in this country where we have got to institute background checks at the strictest level and make people verify that they are capable of owning and possessing a firearm. Can't we do that on a temporary basis to find out if it's going to curb gun violence? Are we good enough to do that? The NRA says we don't have to. This is Ed Schultz News and Commentary. We're back tomorrow.